Hi, and welcome to my wildlife year week 12. I have to think about what week it is now. Glad you're here. I've been busy trying to get some stuff organised for my wildlife project that I'm hoping to be, I am going to be carrying out. I've already had a couple of people locally contact me wanting hedgehog traps and hedgehog tunnels and camera traps in their garden to survey for hedgehog, and I've also been given the go ahead from the local primary school to put out some camera traps, hedgehog tunnels, moth trap, and such over the Easter break, and I'm going to make a little video for the pupils to watch when they get back. I'll also be including that obviously in my wildlife year. Been quite a exciting week. I've had quite a few moths in the moth trap, which you'll hear about. I had something turn up on my camera trap in the garden, and I had a delivery of some chemicals, which I'll show you what I'm going to be using them for. And I got out and about a bit a couple of times. Went to a really nice woodland site, which I'll show you. And I think that's about it. I'll have to wait and see. I haven't edited it all together yet, so I might have actually forgotten something. Anyway, let's get on with my wildlife here. Week 12. Right, I've had the moth trap out again, but I think you've seen enough videos of me emptying the moth trap. So rather than that, I've just put a couple of photos of me emptying the moth trap to lead up to this bit, which is my species list. And I got the most number of species I've actually had so far this year. I got 4 clouded drabs, 2 common quaker, a Hebrew character, a pale brindle beauty, which I think might be the first one I've had, but I'm not sure. But I also had a yellow horned, which was definitely one of my first ones, and a mottled grey, which again is one of my first ones I've had of them. So looking forward to the moth season as it goes on. Just come out with my bat detector there, just as it's getting dark, and found something at the side of the road. Not very nice, but I'm going to put it to some good educational use, hopefully. Right, I found this male house sparrow deceased, probably hit by a car as where it was, but it looks as if it's still in one piece, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to get the skull off it and be able to use that and add it to my skull collection that I can use for educational purposes. Thankfully I have some poo bags with me for the dog, so I'm going to pop it in one of these and keep it in my pocket until I go home. All the blackbirds are just saying goodnight. I'm only standing about 12 feet away from this one. It's not bothering at all, it's just singing away. I'll go around this side so I don't disturb it. I'll let it, leave it to it. Right, I've been out with my bat detector and haven't found any bats. It's a couple of degrees colder than I reckon it's a couple of degrees colder than was forecast, and there's actually a wee bit of a breeze, so I suspect there's not very many insects in the wing, so it won't be worthwhile the bats coming out to feed, because they'll expend more energy than they'll gain. So I'm just going to go and head in for my tea. Right, well, this week I've also been putting out my trail cams, just checking if they're working. I've got a couple more. I was able to get a couple extra than I'd planned from my crowdfunder and fundraising, so I've actually got 4 that I can lend out to people in the community rather than just 2. So I've been trying them out, and look what turned up in my garden. Now, before I show this, it's 4 30-second segments put together. There's about 5 seconds gap between each bit. I've spliced them together, so it's a couple of minutes long, but it's worth it, I think. and a couple of nights later it was back again. So I'm really excited. Part of this project that I'm doing, I'll be putting sort of like little markers all across the village where and surrounding area where I live, marking where hedgehogs have been seen. So there's going to be a dot in my garden. I'm down here on my hands and knees because I've just spotted a young daddy longleg spider. This is a daddy longleg spider. It's not. There's lots of things that are actually, well, 3 things that are called daddy longlegs. Harvestmen, which are not spiders or loathed arachnids, are also called daddy longlegs in some places. And daddy longlegs is also the crane fly. So there's actually lots of different species. And hello Dexter. Every time I get what? Every time I go down to video something, Dexter usually turns up to see what it is I'm looking at. So this is one of the reasons why when you're submitting records to recording schemes and local record centres, you should try and use the scientific name if you know it, or give as much detail as possible, because if you just put daddy longlegs, you don't know whether it's a daddy longleg spider, crane fly, or a harvestman. Right, we're just out for a walk with Dexter in this nice bit of woodland here. It's a lovely bit of plantation. You can see here there's quite a lot of corvid activity and woodpecker activity in the background, and it's really nice because it's really open and there's actually some green on the ground. That's actually quite rare in conifer plantations. So some of these are actually really nice big trees. So it's a nice bit of woodland, and there is squirrels, red squirrels around here. I haven't seen any yet, but I have found a sign of one mammal. Come and look at this. You can see here, these are deer footprints. There'll be roe deer, and as I say, it's a lovely, it's a managed bit of plantation woodland, but it is really nice to see so much green, and also to hear such amount of birdsong in it. It's quite rare in a plantation woodland. Normally it's so closed in that there's hardly any life in it at all, so this is a really nice bit of woodland considering it's plantation. I said I really liked this wood and there's red squirrels here, and it's obviously well managed. What you can see behind me is, it's not set at the moment, but this is actually a squirrel trap. It'll trap any greys and then they'll be dispatched of, so to allow the reds to thrive and not catch the parapox virus that the grey squirrels carry and can decimate the red squirrel population in an area. I've got some personal experience of this. I used to work at Paxton House, and the grey squirrels used to be controlled there, and there was a population of reds. Unfortunately, things changed there, and the greys weren't getting controlled anymore, and the reds haven't been seen for quite a few years now. I wish there was actually more conifer plantations or planted and managed like this. It's a really nice place to walk. There's lots of greenery around, lots of bird song singing out. So often conifer plantations are just monocultures. There's no green on the ground at all. It's just covered in pine needles. The trees are so close together that you can't see anything, and there's hardly any bird life and hardly any wildlife at all. But this woodland here is just so nice. It's so nice to just take a walk through it, and Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by how nice it is to see a woodland like this, and I'm just getting distracted again because I'm seeing on the floor signs of squirrel feeding. You can see here these are full, but this here has been stripped, so there's quite a lot of cones on the floor, but some of them have been stripped, so they've been getting eaten, suspect by red squirrels, as there's obviously reds in this area. So I haven't seen any, but I know that they are around here. I might come back sometime when it's just me and sit in the woods and look for the reds. Right, I'm trying something a bit different today. I've got some hydrogen peroxide here. I've bought 4 5-litre bottle tubs, and it's for cleaning up my bones in my skull collection. I've already got using a small plastic container. Some are old food containers. I like to reuse things. So this is a rat skull that's cleaned up in there. I've already cleaned up a little full skull, as well as a full pelvis, and I've got a pine marten lower jaw. Now you'll notice I'm wearing gloves. Hydrogen peroxide can be a bit corrosive. I'm also using plastic with it. Even if you use something like stainless steel in it, it's going to corrode. So I've also got in this tub here, I've also got some other bits of pine marten, some pelvis and another lower jaw and a few leg bones, and I've also got a rabbit skull in there, so I'm just going to leave them to the hydrogen peroxide. Will clean them up, but some of them will go might go quite white, others might not be so much, just depends how old they are and how weathered they are outside. But it's not the whiteness that I'm really after, it's the cleanliness. It will clean up and get rid of any bacteria and that's growing on them, so that I can use them when I'm doing educational work, that people can actually pick them up and feel them and not have to worry about, am I going to catch something or not. So I'm really looking forward to this and actually getting my skull collection all cleaned up and ready for use, because at the moment when I give it out, when I show people, I keep them in tubs just because to keep them away from the bones. Right, so I've had some various results with my hydrogen peroxide. You can see that this rabbit skull is really nice and clean, whereas this lower jaw that I showed you of the pine marten isn't so clean. But that's okay. As I said, I'm not really worried about them being clean, sort of like pearly white. I just want them to be clean of bacteria, so that I can use them for educational purposes. So I'm just going to keep doing the odd bone here and there, sort of leaving them to soak in the hydrogen peroxide to clean up a bit. In last week's video I put up this bird box, but I've now added this wire here. I've now added a Wi-Fi camera to it, so hopefully if something starts using it to nest in, I'll be able to video it and share it in my wildlife here. I know there's actually something probably using it at night. There is a few bird poos. It's either birds that have been in checking it out, or they've just been spending the night in it. So even if that's all I get, it'll be worth it, and hopefully next year something will be nesting in it. I'm looking forward to it. Well, that's my wildlife year week 12 over and done with. Hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll see what week 13 brings. I'm hoping to be quite busy with one thing and another. I've been asked by a friend to be a guest writer on their blog, so I'll have to get that done over the weekend. And I've also kept open my crowdfunder that I had for my wildlife projects, community wildlife project, basically because I didn't realise that you had to actually physically close it to stop donations coming in, and I thought, well, I'll leave it open just in case someone wants to put in some money for the ongoing costs of the project and to allow us to do extra stuff. But if no one does, no one does. That's fine. But I just thought I'd do that, and I'm also going to be posting the occasional update on the project page and crowdfunder to let people know how it's going. So I think that's about it. So I'll round off, and we'll see you next week for My Wildlife Here, week 13.